Here.
Ward. Here. Hessen. Here. McManus. Here. Armstrong.
Here.
Knopfinger.
Here.
Fisher.
Here.
Is there someone from the student council here to lead us with the pledge of allegiance? Please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you introduce yourself, say what grade you attend, and a little bit about the student council?
I'm Lizzie Link. I'm a junior.
I'm Sydney Grime, and I'm a junior as well.
We just had our vice versa dance. We had about 300 people come, which is a pretty good turnout for vice versa. And we just finished up our St. Jude Week, which collected money for St. Jude.
During the St. Jude Week as well, we hosted our second volleyball powder puff. So the boys all got to join in, and we got to teach them how to play powder puff volleyball. And it was a really good turnout, and we even had to divide the juniors and seniors into 2 different groups because there were so many boys that wanted to participate. And then we also just handed out, or the student council people have the opportunity to obtain a application to run for an officer spot for student council. And we're also starting to plan our induction banquet as well. So that should be coming up in the next couple weeks.
Sounds like you're very busy. Did anybody have any questions for us? Well, thank you for leading us to the pledge tonight.
Yeah, thanks.
We're going on to 4 action item. Coach Nick Miller, can you talk a little bit about your wrestling team?
We had another great season. You know, we won our 9th conference title. We won the regionals again. 8 we won regionals now 8 of the last 9 years, and then a 4th consecutive state trophy and a 3rd consecutive state championship. You know, it was a great season for all those accomplishments, but probably the best part of the season was, you know, watching not as much as an accomplishment, but watching the way that this group of young men bonded together, gelled together, and grew into a great group of guys who could just wrestle for each other and compete with love for each other, and that was an awesome experience.
All of that talent and good looking too.
Some of
Well, that's pretty exciting, and we're very proud of you for doing that and stepping up to be the head coach this year too. So, well, I'm going to read the resolution here, and then we're going to go ahead and give you some resolutions to take home with you that's been signed officially by the high school board. So the resolution here, March 12th, 2018, whereas the Washington Community High School Board of Education is committed to its excellence in academics and extracurricular programs. And whereas the Panther varsity wrestling team has excelled in both of these areas. And whereas the 2018 wrestling team has an undefeated conference season and has won the Mid-Illini Conference Championship for the 9th consecutive year, extending the Mid-Illini record. Okay, and then qualified 9 wrestlers for state tournament and had 9 all-state wrestlers. Was regional champion for 8 out of 9 years and won their 4th consecutive team state trophy and the 3rd team state championship. And whereas the team has demonstrated exceptional sportsmanship that reflects well upon our school and community, and whereas team members have provided positive role models for the youth of our community, and whereas the team amplifies Panther pride at its very best. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the head varsity coach, Nick Miller, assistant coaches, Brandon Rice, Doug McLeister, Matt Webster, Mike Carr, and the members of the 2018 varsity Panther wrestling team are hereby highly commended for their exemplary accomplishments. So thank you very much. And we might want want to pass that resolution before we give them to you. So is there a motion that the board approve the resolution recognizing the accomplishment of the 2018 Panther wrestling team as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Leslie? Yes. McNutt?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes. Motion passed. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna call the names off, and we're gonna start right here.
Okay.
Stephen Epgar. Joey Kate. Dylan Cooper. Tyler Delaware. Jackson Ellis. Jared Head. Abe Henderson. Zach Hewlett. Zeke. Did I call you Zach? Zeke. Retake that, please. Hayden Jackson. Dalton Jensen. Kennedy Kale. Hunter Mamer. Chaz Mercer. Brody Norman. Garrett Rich. And Gabe Robinson. And our coach is Nick Miller. Brandon Rice. And Matt Webster. There's a few missing tonight, we'll get them to them. Yep. Oh. Thank you.
How about another round of applause?
Till next year.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Five, one, and that's members of correspondence. Did lacrosse, someone at lacrosse would like to talk to us tonight?
Hello. Should we state our name?
If you could state your name, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Meg Sutherland. I'm the secretary of the Washington Lacrosse Club. And I just wanted to say to the members of the District 308 School Board, Dr. Freeman and Mr. Noblon, I don't know if he's still around or not, but we owe you a continuous thanks for always giving your consideration of adding the boys and girls lacrosse team to Washington Community High School. We have compiled yet another packet for you. You may recall getting a packet last May from us with a bunch of information. In this packet, you're going to find a timeline which just briefly outlines, well, not really brief, but it highlights just dates that we've had correspondence, meetings and so forth through with Dr. Freeman, Mr. Knobloch, and even our visits here to the board. And it's somewhat lengthy, but it does demonstrate the maximum effort that's been put forth to get lacrosse added as an IHSA sport at this high school. School board members who were elected just around this time last year in April, and even perhaps veteran board members, you may not be aware of all the meetings that have taken place since December of 2016, and or all the information that and suggestions and anticipated steps and procedures that we've covered in a lot of these meetings. We watched last month's, the February school board meeting, the video, and quite a few, all of the board members did, of the Washington Lacrosse Club. And after watching that, we kind of felt that perhaps not all key information has been made available to everyone, which is completely understandable since we've never all sat down together. We've met with the Finance Committee and we've met with Dr. Freeman and Mr. Knobloch, and we've come here, but never have we just met with everybody. So it's understandable that startup costs for the sport of lacrosse and how it could still be successful without every Mid Illini school having a team, or even the solutions of stopping a lacrosse ball from going astray has been covered and so forth. And so we try to include some of that in this packet. And after watching that, or while watching that video, we jotted down questions and concerns that we heard coming from many of you. And then we compiled some questions and we sent those off to Mr. Knobloch, and then we set up a meeting and went through those questions so that we could make sure that some of the concerns you have are getting addressed and answered if they haven't been already. So you can find those in here too in this packet. And I apologize if I don't have a packet for every single person. I can certainly get more made, but I have for key board members and so forth, but I'll pass those out and then Dan can get started if that's all right.
Hi, my name's Dan Richardson. I'm the president of the Washington Lacrosse Club Board. Quite different circumstances for me to be here this time. I think last time I was here there were about 100 people here. But I really, that was awesome to see that resolution for the wrestling team. It really hit me when you were reading the resolution, the commitment that Washington High School has to excellence in academics and to extracurricular activities such as athletics. It's been a very exciting 2 years for lacrosse since the IHSA officially made lacrosse a sport starting this year. They came out a year ahead of time and said this was going to happen, and the inaugural season for lacrosse in the state of Illinois has already begun. 2 weeks ago is when lacrosse started officially for the state, and things are underway. It's very exciting for me as a member of this to just, I feel like I'm in at the ground floor of something amazing that's about to begin. In our area, Dunlap High School has already made the commitment and gone IHSA as a lacrosse club. In our area, we have the Washington Lacrosse Club. There's a club in Morton. There's a club in Bloomington, Springfield, Champaign, Decatur. There's clubs in Manuka, which we already play in football. And the sport is continuing to grow. Just a little bit of information for you. Lacrosse is going to be set up. It's going to be a lot like baseball and soccer, where the minimum number of games for lacrosse season is going to be 6 games. One of the great things about lacrosse is, just like in baseball, you can play multiple games in a day. So for the logistics of meeting the schedule and having a full season, if we are the 3rd program in our area, with Dunlap already going, Notre Dame is most likely going to go next year, and we would be the 3rd one. With a home and away just in our local area, we would have half of our season completed. Now, if we did a home and away up north where we were able to go to, say, Manuka or Plainfield, we could play 2 northern teams in a day, and then they would reciprocate and come here and play 2 games against us and, say, Dunlap and Notre Dame. And we would have enough for a season in basically 2 days worth of games. So the logistics of playing games is something that's going to be easily met. Timing is everything. I believe things are very busy here at the high school already, but I also believe that getting in on the ground floor of something that is exploding is the fastest growing sport in the United States. It's the fastest growing sport in Illinois. And Illinois has already made a commitment to make it an IHSA sport. I believe getting in on the ground floor, we'll be able to say we're once again leaders in excellence in academics and athletics, being there from almost the inaugural season. I'm really lucky to be here. I feel lucky to be a part of the lacrosse program. And in my experience, I found that luck is where preparedness and opportunity intersect. And with lacrosse right now, as a board, we have prepared this program to get to this point. We have 52 boys that are already playing on the high school team, and we have 20 girls that are already playing. Of those 52, 80% of them are Washington athletes, and we have a great contingent from the Metamora, Germantown area, and a few players from Eureka. With lacrosse coming as an emerging sport, it would be very considerable. It's a normal thing to co-op at the beginning of a sporting year, especially the first year, the first couple years. We would be able to co-op with Metamora, Eureka, and that would also help offset the costs, the way the co-ops work as far as you pay the startup cost based on the percentage. We have an amazing group of boys that are from Germantown. We have some boys from Eureka, and we even have a couple from East Peoria. But co-oping is not going to hurt us because there's no divisions. It's all one division. So it doesn't matter how many schools you team up with to play. But as far as lacrosse goes, I'm lucky to be here, and I think we've prepared our program to get to this point. We have 8 to 10 lacrosse players every year for the next 3, 4, 5 years going to be coming into the school. You'll have a team that's going to have more than double the amount of players that can even be on the field at one time. So I thank you guys for your consideration. I think lacrosse is going to be amazing, and hopefully just a few years from now you'll be giving us a resolution for the great things that our players have done in just a small period of time. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for presenting us with the packet, and we will take it under consideration.
Great.
Thank you. Okay. Is there any other visitors and correspondence?
Yes, I would like to say something. I'm just going to pass this out for you guys to take a look at this. You guys can see. Picture you're looking at there is of my son Tanner Wagner. He is a senior here at Washington High School. He has been playing lacrosse since the inception, about 10 years through the Park District. My oldest son, Riley, he's actually 21 today, was on that first team that traveled with Washington Park District with kids from Pekin, Metamora, Morton, Dunlap, Bloomington, and most of them were hockey players, believe it or not. And they went and traveled through Indiana, Wisconsin, and played through a park district that was started with Matt LaHood 10 years ago. So here we are a decade later, and we're hoping to get this as an IHSA sport. The reason I showed you that picture was because Tanner is a student here that he doesn't excel at much, and I'll be very honest, he struggles a lot, but this is something that he is passionate about, and he wanted those pictures taken because, as you can see next to him, it says on the brick, the Wagner boys, Riley, Tanner, and Aiden. That shows you our commitment to this school many years ago, even though my boys will never play a sport here at this high school unless it's lacrosse. I have a 6th grader who it could be possible for him. So I would like you to seriously consider this. We have parents who have invested a lot of time, a lot of money into extracurricular sports and academics. So take that into consideration when you're thinking about making this an IHSA sport here at this high school. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board tonight?
I'm not lacrosse, but it's a great sport. My name is Tony Minton. I just wanted to thank the board for bringing in Bob Wilson. If people don't know, he has a program called The Ripple Effect. It looks at all sports, and so since we were talking about sports tonight, I thought it was just appropriate to say that I appreciate you guys bringing him in. If we follow a program like that, it starts with the parents, starts with the athletes, it starts with the coaches, it starts with the AD, And I really commend you guys for bringing something in like that so that I know District 51 has had it come in, the Park District is, and so I commend you guys for bringing it, to the forefront so that we can take care of our students because they do excel in school. If they're in sports, it's proven. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
We might want to add to that I believe the board is very aware of the next presentation he will be making. And a lot of our board members want to go hear him on that night, and we're canceling going to a regional school board meeting so we can be here to hear this because we think it's important.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a great program, so I'm glad you guys are looking into it.
Any other correspondents and visitors that would like to address the board?
Good evening. How are you guys tonight? I'm Nancy Quinn, tenure teacher here at Washington and secretary of WEA. And just wanted to recognize tonight that we have a lot of our membership here today in support of one of our colleagues, Chris Metz.
Thank you. Is there any other visitors that would like to address the board?
Hi, my name is Lauren Metz. In the novel To Kill a Mockingbird, lawyer Atticus Finch is asked why he would vehemently take it upon himself to defend his client. He responds that he could not hold his head up in town or be a role model for his children if he does not stand up for what he believes in. I have taught this novel to 27 classes worth of students, and I am here speaking tonight because I cannot walk in front of my students with my head held high, nor could I continue to encourage students to find courage to stand up for what they believe in if I do not take the opportunity to do so in my own life. There is a teacher in the school that I truly believe has brought a positive contribution to Washington High School. Just 2 weeks before school started, he made the difficult decision to stop teaching at the high school where he grew up. The school where he taught for 9 years, acted as department head, ball play director, game club sponsor, IEA building representative. He received a call that Washington was losing a veteran teacher who teaches an overload, and they needed someone that could step into that classroom without time to set up his room, without time to meet his colleagues and collaborate, and with the expectation that he teach 164 students each day. This was not an easy decision for this teacher, as he was leaving a great deal behind and walking into a stressful position. However, he personally made the decision to take on this challenge, believing that it would be the best way to move his family all to the same town. In his short time at Washington High School, this teacher has left a positive mark on the students in his classroom, the members of the game club, and his coworkers. He developed a system that would allow him to know his students by having each student choose 5 goals they want to attain before college, and then each time a student reaches one of those goals, they add a cutout to his classroom wall. He has attended many events, wrestling, basketball, the musical, football, and dance to see his students accomplish their extracurricular goals in person. He has brought in countless real-life examples, pulling in scientific videos on cloud structure to teach geometrical lessons, bringing up actual examples of student loans to discuss interest, and using the IHSA website and teams entered to learn about the margin of error in the state contest. Noticing that Washington students were struggling with the probability and statistics section on the SAT, he used his AP statistics training to contribute to the departmental goal of SAT preparation by collaborating with other teachers to incorporate a new unit to the Algebra 2 curriculum. Not only has he helped foster relationships with students and helped implement new curriculum, he has also participated fully in professional development, reading and marking up every assigned chapter in his Teach Like a Champion book. In his 1 year at Washington, he has done his best to become a part of the community, eating lunch with his department, getting together with coworkers from many other departments outside of school. He has also worked with the game club, and his presence allowed for more supervised groups to participate. Finally, this teacher was looking forward to becoming a more integral part of the community by shopping for homes for his family. These actions all show this teacher's desire to be a part of Washington High School for the long term. This teacher is a reflective individual and had any of his evaluations or observation notes shown concerns, he would have worked to rectify those concerns, which in turn would have made him a better teacher. While Washington may have gotten an experienced teacher that could step into an overload with every class almost at capacity, another school lost a leader, a play, a game club, as nobody else stepped on to take on these extracurricular positions. When a school and a teacher give up so much for a community, that teachers should be treated with understanding and given an opportunity to improve. I believe in this school and I believe in this community. And I have seen them come together at very difficult times. I believe that the people in this building and the people on the school board truly want what is best for the students who walk these halls. It is my belief and my faith in people that has served me well as a teacher. And tonight I put my belief and faith in the members of the school board, hoping that they will vote to give a creative teacher who cares for his coworkers and his students another year and a fair opportunity to prove himself. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board tonight?
Good evening. My name is John McDermott, and first of all, I'd like to say thank you for the opportunity to speak in front of you. It's always difficult to sit in the chair you're sitting in and to hear, certain things that, could be termed as negative, right, if we have such a wonderful positive from the wrestling team here. Before I get into what I wanted to talk about, I wanted to draw a parallel here between the lacrosse team, and some of you may have been around a few years back when we were debating whether or not to have a swim team here at high school. And hearing the parent who came up here to talk about their son and how they might have, struggled a little bit, and that was the one thing to look forward to. I too had a son who his greatest love was coming here, not only to run, but to be on that swim team. Not a lot of winter sports here, especially in our area. Swimming was phenomenal for him. Please give a strong consideration to the lacrosse team. The item I really wanted also to address you tonight also had to do with Chris, and really the topic of feedback and the timing of feedback here. I would guess, quite frankly, that you have evaluation methods that the administration gives out. There are probably observations that are given, and I would like to think that any concerns that the administration might have with a particular teacher regarding whatever it might be would be brought up in those evaluations. I work for a Fortune 50 company. I teach leadership there. I teach how to have that employee life cycle and timing. None of you would wait X amount of months if you saw one of your children doing something that you didn't agree with. So I would strongly urge the board not to rubber stamp any considerations given by the administration, but to ask the powerful questions and regarding, well, if you're not recommending somebody, please tell me why. The evaluations on how his students are doing, the evaluation on his teaching methods, and how he does well in class need to be considered here. Those are the important considerations that I hope that the board take into consideration when you're speaking with your administration about those recommendations. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the board tonight? Moving on to 6 reports. Student Success Dashboard update. Dr. Freeman, could you give us an update on that, please?
Sure. We have we're having a little technology issue today, so I'm going to have to give a verbal click to move the slides for me. So we want to talk a little bit about the Success Dashboard. If you've had a chance to look, you've seen it online. It kind of outlines what our students have done, and it talks a little bit about our history. So this is what you currently see online in the top row. Sorry, I can't do this from across the room. I have it on the phone. So if you'll see GPA, assessment, dual credit. There are a couple other slides, and we'll talk through those as well. What we do is periodically through the year kind of review where we're at and how things have gone to date. So we're going to talk a little bit about the first semester. So some of the slides won't have anything in them because the students haven't, for example, taken the SAT yet for the spring. So there's no way to really give you a good view of the assessment. But you can see where we're at compared to the state based on this slide. It's a little blurry, but it's there. GPA last year we saw ended with a 3.15. Right now, after the first semester, we're at a 3.21 GPA. So we're seeing good advancement in our GPA. Now, first semester tends to have a pretty good GPA, so we still need to get through the second semester. That's when all the excitement happens, things like prom and summer break and spring break. So kids get a little interested in other things. Dual credit AP honors. Last year, over the course of the year, we had 48% of our students enrolled in dual credit and AP and honors courses. During the first semester, we had 51%. So you can see we're starting to increase. That's important because we want those kids to continue to push themselves, continue to stretch. It will serve them well in college. School board and community involvement, extracurricular involvement. Now, we can't give you the first semester involvement because it really takes the full year to see the cycle. We have tremendous participation in sports like track, baseball, softball, and those are all large sports. Girls soccer, tennis are all going on right now. So at the end of the year, we'll give you a final update on what the actual extracurricular involvement is for the year. You can also see community involvement, and you can see that once again, our kids are very involved in the community. The highest thing being a paid job, which it seems like we see a bit of an increase in that. I think it went up from 36% to 56%. So you're seeing more kids working in the community. If you've been to a lot of our local establishments, you'll see high school kids working all the time. Makes it interesting when you're an administrator or a teacher because you're looking at the kid behind the counter who you've seen in class or school that day. And that's fun. It's fun. It's fun to be able to go in and talk to the students. So, GPA correlation to what we do is we look at the activities that they're involved in. And we noticed a few years ago that there was a nice correlation between students who are involved and engaged in school activities and GPA. And so we took that into account. We put together this graphic. And this graphic is really nice because it shows you GPA of all students last year ended at 3.15. GPA for students who had at least one activity, this was an average of all students, was 3.42. For students not involved, 2.33. That's why these two slides play so well together. And yes, we do want to see our kids more involved. So we do report that at the end of the year once we have the full spring participation as well. Okay. Then attendance and enrollment. So for the average of 2013 through 15, we had about a 92% attendance rate. At the end of 2016-17, we had a 94. So the previous 3 years average, you can see we have increased it. Here's the nice thing. We have more kids. We continue to get more kids. We're at 1371. Last year, the enrollment was 1330. We have 95% attendance in the first semester. That's big, especially considering the flu season we went through, which was pretty hefty this year. You probably saw it on the news. So we're impressed. Our kids are coming to school. That's important. If you're not here, you don't learn as much. You're missing days in class. Panther Pride program in 2016-17, on average, 63% of our students qualified for the Panther Pride program. First semester, 75%. Panther Pride includes attendance, discipline, and grades. They take all into account when they put that program together. So this is a nice, all-encompassing view of what our students are doing. They are performing well. They're here and they're working. Educators, our average class size is 17. Average years of experience is 15. And teachers with a master's degree is 69 of 89. Average class size this year is 20. We continue to grow. That's going to go up a little bit. Average years of teaching experience is 12, and teachers with master's degrees is 62 out of 85. We've noticed there's an anomaly there. We think we know what it is. We think we included some township employees in this statistic last year. So we actually have a few more here than we really should. This is more. All right. Next one. Is that it? And that is it. So, as you can see, we are rolling along pretty well. And once again, there will be more information at the end of the year. This is just the midterm update to tell you how the first semester went. It usually takes us to about February to get all the information in. We have to wait for kids to finish taking final exams from the first semester, and we don't get those in place early enough to be able to get it to you much earlier than this. So are there any questions?
Thank you for putting that all together. I know we wanted something to be able to look at quickly and get information. It's on our webpage, so parents are able to see that easily too and read what they need. Anything else I'd say?
Going in the right direction.
As more years compile, it'd be nice to see. We'll be able to have a benchmark.
You continue to move. If you do look online, you'll see the colored slides. You won't see the black and white because the black and white are the midterm updates. So they're not complete until the end of the year.
Any other questions for Dr. Freeman on that? We've been working on that for a while, so thank you. Moving on to the Dean's report. I believe you got those in your packet. If anybody had any questions for those. Enrollment report, that was in your packet also. If anybody had any questions on that, it's probably self-explanatory there. Financial report, Joe Sander, can you help us with that?
I can't believe we're in March. At the end of March, we'll be 3/4 the way through the fiscal year. And so here's your financial report. I want to highlight that Dr. Freeman and I are going to be attending the evidence-based funding model and the ESSA conference tomorrow. It's more like a work planning session to go through that because the funding is tied to our performance and there's multiple indicators. And so we're going to be attending that tomorrow. Right below that is our monthly scorecard, and what you can see is where we're at expenditures-wise this year as compared to last year. And so we're up in the revenue side, and the expenditures is just slightly higher than what we were last year. So that's a really good snapshot. So if you take a look at some of our revenues, why we're higher, this is a good sign right here. General state aid is $1.7 million that we've already received. So the state has made good on their promise to fund education this year. And so things are looking really, really good with our revenues. We get down to the investment report. Those numbers are there for your review. And then on the insurance report, since we crossed on over into a new calendar year, that's how we track our expenses, is on a calendar year basis. We have one bar here, but it's at $160,000 as far as our expenses for January. I want to make note, our break-even line is at about 198, almost $200,000. So we fell well below as far as our expenses to our revenues for the month of January, and we hope to keep it there throughout the rest of the year. So that's a financial report. If you have any questions.
Thank you for putting that in such a nice way for us to look at it easily and evaluate it. There's no other questions. We're moving on to board committee reports. So a few committees have met over since the last year, and we just need to review those a little bit. Facilities met, and I'm on facilities along with Ken Caressett and Chris Armstrong. Chris, you want to tell us what we did in his facilities, or do you want me to?
Kind of all blur together. So
the facilities met, and then we had our Farnsworth was there, and also PJ Hare, and we started to look at possible upcoming projects and major construction and they were advising us and
Some of the key things you want to be really clear on up front, especially what drives cost or inaccuracies, when we get into quality prints, and also discuss the timing of when we can meet some of the milestone deliverables along with minimizing our likely cost.
Well, that along with finance, we put together what we can afford to do without borrowing additional money or creating extra tax
Kind of going
revenue.
through the typical iteration, I think we kind of get the wish list and then we bounce it into affordability and iterate a few times. So, and I think we're kind of, identifying some elements that drive waste. I guess that's the big thing, on making sure we get good quality prints and don't have change orders and other things. So I think we got some real big clarity.
All involved with a long-awaited Van Chorus expansion.
Policy also met, and that would be Brad Butler, Ben Bresic, and myself again. And Brad, do you recall what we?
It was a fairly standard meeting this month. There were some updates in Press Plus, most of which were driven by statutory changes and case law changes. No substantive policy changes that I can recall. Pretty uneventful. Not as exciting as Chris's facility finance.
We did have, we are doing the first reading in that. Right, that's included for the record. It's in the action item for the first reading of the items we discussed. So if you have any questions on those, you're welcome to ask them before we vote on adoption. Insurance met, we heard. And that's kind of the standard
Pretty
meeting.
much all the information out there. Report.
And then we did have a special board meeting where all of us met so that we could review possible engineers. Okay, 7.1. Dr. Freeman, would you like to tell us about that?
Yes, we did meet. We did what the state requires. You pick your top 3. I'm currently working with our top candidate. I've sent everybody copies of what their cost estimate is. I should have a contract for you in the next month. We're bouncing it off of attorneys, making sure that the verbiage is all okay, which is pretty standard. If you are okay with moving forward with that firm, I'd like to advise the other 2 firms that they did not make the selection. I'll just call them tomorrow, if that's okay. And I'm not looking for action, more like a consensus that I can move forward.
I'm comfortable with the firm that you've identified there.
Secure that before we cut the other 2.
That would be a good thought.
I think if you're okay with the cost, all we're doing is verbiage on the contract, so they're pretty close to secured now, so. It's just making sure the verbiage is right, which is the thous and shalt nots in the contract.
They were all very qualified presentations, and all of them were qualified to do that, so it wasn't really difficult to pick. But we had to pick one, so we probably could let the other ones, as soon as possible, so they're not, I'm sure they're waiting. So, moving on to 7.2 is a FOIA request.
You have a copy of that, so you can see it in our response.
Thank you for sharing that. And then we have the 7.3 Health Life Safety Report. Dr. Sanders, did you have anything you wanted to talk about with that? It looks relatively small.
It's very small. And
That's
so
nice.
We had our usual run of extension cords, and so we're still working on that. And so in speaking with Mr. Merity today, I think he's all but have all the issues resolved. And so then what we have to do next is we have to log into the Health Life Safety Report, put in our corrective actions, and then we'll be done with that. So it was a rather good report.
All right, thank you for sharing that. Moving on to 7.4, 7.5, 7.6. We have some resignation. Brooke Langley, the girls swim and dive coach. Resignation for Dan Ballard, the math teacher and tennis coach. Resignation for Jeff Brooks, the boys soccer coach. And so those are resignations that came in, and that happens sometimes around this time of the year. So, then moving on to 7.7 is the 2018-2021. It's difficult to say. Yeah, JFL usage agreement draft, and we're looking that over now. And if you have any questions about that, it's probably a good time to get in touch with Dr. Freeman or Dr. Caesar. Is 7.8, is there any other?
I'll throw this out here for the benefit of the cross parents.
Okay.
Mr. Noblock and I had a very good meeting with them. We're going to look at a couple more things, and we'll get back with you on work here very soon, talking about possibilities and what we can possibly do.
Is there a deadline for when we need to make a decision in regards to next year?
Is there an IHSA deadline that we need to follow?
I'm sure there is. I don't know off the top of my head, but we can still do it this spring. But the main thing that we're looking at, we're going to get together to look across people. Number one is schedule, and number two is cost, what it's going to be. We're probably going to be doing that within the next month to have for you in the April board meeting.
And I would tell you, one of my big holdbacks was talking about really big nets at the end of the football field on both ends. And they've got a different solution there that brings no cost and is easy to put in place. That makes me breathe a lot easier with this. I don't know that we could have picked up another construction project this summer, so.
I did have one other, it was brought up earlier about Bob Wilson, and he's going to be in town March 22nd, but I believe that's an invitation event. Okay.
Do you want me to talk about
Yeah,
that?
could you tell us a little bit about this?
That's actually bigger than the high school. The Park District, the three public feeder districts along with St. Pat's and the high school are all coming together with some of the other groups that are out there. Some of the baseball groups that aren't affiliated with the Park District, JFL, to start talking about a greater view of athletics in the community and how we want to proceed as far as what are the expectations for our students, what are the expectations for our players, what are the expectations for parents, and what are the expectations for coaches. And just having a large agreement about what can you expect when your son or daughter gets involved in athletics anywhere in this community. So this is really a bottom to top discussion. It's not just the high school, it's across the board. And we're pretty excited. I don't know that, we talked about, he said he's not aware of any communities who've done anything like this to date. So Washington is kind of leading the way on this whole discussion. And we hope to have a good set of beliefs, a good set of documents that come out of this so that the expectations remain consistent as kids go through and they understand what they're there for and what the purpose is for. I think sometimes we get competitive, and that's great, and we love the competitive nature of the community. We love the fact that our wrestlers can win state championships and our football teams and basketball teams are very successful. We love the fact that all of our kids go out and they compete at what they do. You'll see that this weekend with robotics. And if you haven't had a chance to go see robotics, they'll be at Bradley this weekend. Go. It is the most interesting thing you've seen outside of the athletic arena. And it's fun. So we want to be able to continue to compete at that level, but we don't want to take it to the degree where kids are suffering from it. And we see signs and symptoms of that, and we've seen it across the community, and that's what this discussion is about. How do we keep the kids at the forefront of this thing? So you see issues with it all through the U.S. This isn't a problem solely for Washington, but what we hope to come out of this with is just a form of a solution on how we want to proceed.
Thank you. And Bob?
Is that open to the public?
They can go to hear the speaker, I guess, but
And that's, is it 22nd or 23rd?
it's the 22nd, and that's not, it's an invite deal.
So the general public cannot?
The problem will be seating.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's going to be a working group, so you have to have tables. it'll be in conference rooms, not.
Oh, it's not in the,
So that's kind of where the issue comes into play.
and Bob Wilson has brought his level up at college level and brought this into the college atmosphere, and so he's bringing that into the community level.
If we want to talk to him about potentially doing a more general open.
I went to the one at Central, and I think it was more of just an open.
It was. Yeah, it was more of an open format. This really is, because of what we were talking about, we wanted to have good representatives from all the groups. The only way to do that is through an invite system. Otherwise, you get skewed. The groups that are really interested show up, and then you lose the voices in there. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
Dr. Freeman, something else I'm aware of that's been going on in the community, not sports related, but there's so much about the safety and security of students in schools with the culture and what we're hearing, and have been for weeks about tragedies in schools. And I'm aware that but both the churches and the schools, but our local police department has been very proactive in meeting with all the superintendents, ministers, and so forth, to do preventative planning. So it's not just the school, it's the community, the wider security of our people here in Washington, Illinois. I think it's another example of how we're working with the lacrosse people to try to make something work out that could be very productive, and how the police are working with groups in the community to work together for the good of all, but especially our children.
We actually had a training today. The police came in and trained the staff. It's, you know how we do the late starts every Monday. Well, the Mondays that correspond with board meetings are staff meeting days. We took the entire time and did a training specifically for the staff on how to handle those types of situations. Our police department, we're blessed to have the police department we have. They're very well trained. They have a number of trainers who can train in different methods, because there's more than one method in how you handle that type of situation. You know, there's Alice training, there's run, hide, fight training. There are just a number of them, and we have police officers who are trained in all of those areas. And so we were able to utilize their expertise to work with our staff today to help better prepare, and for an event that we hope never happens ever. And, yep, talk about what we can do to better secure things.
I think that's important for the community to know.
Is there any other issues or topics you need to bring up as sort of the board tonight? Moving on to the consent agenda. Consent agenda consists of minutes from 8.1, 8.11, the regular meeting minutes of February 12, 2018, 8.12, facilities committee meeting of February 15, 2018, 8.13, special meeting minutes of February 20, 2018, and school board policy committee meeting minutes of March 5th, 2018. I can do all this together.
Yes.
Okay, the 8.2 is for bills, and those are listed. And then also 8.3 is IHSA 2017-18 membership renewal. Is there a motion for the consent agenda to be approved as shown?
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Call, please.
Ward,
Yes.
Essing. Yes. McNutt.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Knopfinger. Yes. Butler.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to action items. You gotta bear with me to get this on my computer here. Action items consist of personnel. 9.1, 9.11, employment of certified personnel. Is it the same thing? No, it's different. Okay, recommendation is the WCHS Board of Education approve the employment of Leon Bacon as a business teacher for the 2018-2019 school year at a salary per negotiated contract. Is there a motion to approve employment of Leon Bacon?
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Butler.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Essing. Yes. McNutt.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Knopfinger.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. 9.11B is the employment of Adam Mangold, Academic Assessment Coordinator. Is a township position, so it's split the cost with all the townships. And is there any questions anyone had on that? Approve the employment of Adam Mangold as the Academic Assessment Coordinator for the 2018-2019 school year at a salary rate as per negotiated contract. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Ward.
Yes.
Essing. Yes. McNutt.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Knopfinger.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. On to 9.11C, approve the employment of Travis Enstrom as the science teacher for the 2018-2019 school year at salary per negotiated contract. Is there a motion to accept his employment?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Knopfinger.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Essing.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. Moving on to 9.12, employment of department chairs. We have employment for Daryl Crouch as the driver's ed department chair. And then we have 9.12B, employment of Molly Breckenpool as the counseling department chair. Is there a motion to approve the employment of Daryl Crouch and Molly Breckenpool as listed?
I move. Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
Fisher.
Yes.
Knopfinger.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Essing. Yes. McNutt.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. Moving on to employment of non-certified, 9.13, and, let's see. Is it just the one? Okay. And approve employment of Ryan Cook, the technology technician. Motion to approve the employment of Ryan Cook as a technology technician at an hourly rate of $16.25. Is there a motion to approve his employment?
I move.
Second.
Motion and second. Is that a new position?
It's not a new position. We have a leave of absence. It's a 14-month
So it's
extended.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Knopfinger.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes.
Essing. Yes. McNutt.
Yes.
Motion carries, thank you. Moving on to action items for employment of extracurricular. Looking for a motion to approve the employment of Dawn Davis as head volleyball coach. And then 9.14B, approve the employment of Katie Halverson as head girls swim coach. And 9.14C, approve the employment of Ava Wenzel as head girls tennis coach. Is there a motion to approve their employment as listed?
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
I believe those are all faculty members too, which is something we try to do if possible, because they have such a close tie-in with the high school.
Roll call, please.
Essing.
Yes.
McNutt.
Yes.
Armstrong.
Yes.
Fisher.
Yes.
Knopfinger.
Yes.
Butler.
Yes.
Ward.
Yes. Motion carries, thank you. Moving on to 9.2, approve the first reading of Press Plus, this issue 95 and recommendation edits to the policies 5.330, 6.300, and 6.310, as we discussed. This is the first reading, and that is coming from committee, so we do not need a motion. Oh, wait the reading? No. And we'd like to make a motion to waive the reading so that we're not going through all of those.
So moved.
Roll call, please.
Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Essing? Yes. McNabb?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Knopfinger?
Yes. Motion carries. Item 9.3, approve the school resource officer, the SRO, contract for the 2018-2019 school year. Oh, I'm sorry, I did that. Oh, I waived it. All right, I'm going to back up a little bit. I forgot to approve the motion to accept the reading of the press plus. So
moved.
second, thank you. Motion and second, taking the action for the first reading. Roll call, please.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Butler?
Wait, we have a question.
Okay, so this includes the changing of the sophomore PE requirement as well, is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
6.300, or 6:300 and 6:310 take care of that, so sophomores would be able to waive PE if they're involved in athletics. Little history on that. Background is IHSA only allowed juniors and seniors up until this year. However, marching band, when we approved marching band, the ability to provide PE waivers could go down to the sophomore year, so we're evening that out. So now it's athletes and band members can apply for a PE waiver if they're involved in those activities. 5:330 is a discussion about how we handle, it's really a procedural thing for the most part. It's how we accrue vacation days for non-certified people that we hire. And then the press packet 95 really is mostly just cleanup. It was a pretty short meeting.
Also on the law change for physical education requirements for the state of Illinois, so that's why we were able to do that. So that happened in the beginning of 2018.
Thank you.
Any other questions on policy? I'm sorry, we get into the policies and we read them and we go through them and then we forget that some of the board members read the
It's very
50 pages. Roll call, please.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Essing? Yes. McNabb?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Motion carries. Now moving on to 9.3, to approve the SRO officer contract for the 2018-2019 school year. Is there any discussion on that?
Yes, talked to the chief. They're asking for a $1,000 total increase, which we pay the majority of the salary for our SRO. That's a pretty good deal. It's $500 per payment and well worth it, especially in light of what we've seen.
Now, as I recall, was it this year that we shared, two covered the 1 year, two police covered the 1 year?
It was
Last year?
Yes.
Okay, so this is, and it doesn't matter because it's covered. I was just curious if there will be one policeman from the department for this year covering the whole school year.
And are there any other changes to the contract? Because it's an annual contract, does the whole thing roll over, it's just that dollar amount?
Just the dollar amount.
Thank you.
And the dates.
Yep.
We changed the dates so that they apply.
Good catch.
Well, it has been working out very well so far. Is there a motion to approve the intergovernmental agreement with the City of Washington for a school resource officer for the 2018-19 school year as recommended?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Roll call, please.
McNabb?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Essing? Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to item 10, it's executive session.
I'd say 5 items, so that's 120-3,
Okay. And that's for the items for 10.5, ILCS 120C1, ILCS 120 122C2 and ILCS 122C9. And those are what we will be talking about in executive session. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second, roll call please.
Hessen?
Yes.
McNutt?
Yes.
Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Butler?
Yes.
Warren?
Yes. Motion carries. There will be an action item after executive session.
No, I have a sheet here. Okay.
Motion to
Calling this
the meeting back to order.
at 9. Is it 04 on the clip?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Butler?
Here.
Ward?
Here.
Essig?
Here.
Net, yes. Armstrong?
Here.
Fisher?
Here.
Knopfinger?
Here. We have two action items. The first one will be the Board of Education extends contracts to listed to the faculty for the 2018-2019 school year. All teachers listed either have met or exceeded district standards. Is there a motion to accept the recommendation?
So moved.
Go ahead.
Motion and a second? Okay, roll
Okay.
call,
I'm
please.
sorry, hold on.
I was
Brad.
second, Brad.
Okay.
Okay, roll call, please.
Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Essig?
Yes.
Net, yes. Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Second item is the Board of Education approve the resolution of non-reemployment as presented. Is there a motion in a second?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Roll call, please.
Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Essig?
Yes.
Net, yes. Armstrong?
Yes.
Fisher?
Yes.
Knopfinger?
Yes.
Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. Butler?
Yes.
Ward?
Yes.
Essig? McNett, yes. Armstrong?
Yes.
Net, yes. And Knopfinger?
Yes.
And there twice.